Hello again, here for part two. Okay, so we left off with the news that I had gotten a C-section. I was trying not to let it get to me too much. I really had gotten my hopes up for a vaginal delivery, but we ultimately had to do what was best for baby Isaiah and me, so I accepted it pretty easily. During the C-section, I was pretty much out of it. They didn't put me to sleep or anything. They just gave me a little bit more medicine. I'm not sure what, to be honest. But, yeah, I was pretty out of it. But, the moment he came out, they tell you, you hear about C-sections on TV, you're going to feel a lot of pressure, and that's when you know baby's about to come out. And they told me that, and the anesthesiologist, Bob, who had given me my epidural, he was with me right behind my head, and he was like, oh, it's gonna feel like a truck is sitting on your chest. And he kept saying things like that where you're like, dude, just don't say anything. You don't need to say that. But actually, the pressure of it really, it wasn't too bad. If you just kind of do mind over matter, if you can, just take a deep breath. It's like, oh my God, here my baby comes. It's like the moment before you push it out of your cooch, I guess. But anyway, so the moment he came out, he instantly started crying. Of course, that was, it just made me cry right there. I was like, just so overwhelmed with happiness, and it was literally the best moment of my life, like, by far. I couldn't wait to see what he looked like, and it took like forever for them to bring him over to me. I was hearing him cry. They were talking about him. I forgot to say that my mom was in there with me, so she got to meet him first, and that was really cool. She cut his umbilical cord, and it was really awesome. It was a great experience. The whole thing was just amazing. I wish that I could have filmed it because it was literally that amazing. I didn't expect to do as well as I did with the contractions, and I don't know, it was crazy. So anyway, after the C-section, me and baby Isaiah had to part ways. I only got to spend a couple minutes with him, hold him for a couple minutes and meet him and whatnot before they took him back into the regular room that I was previously in, and then they took me to a recovery room. I was in the recovery room for about a couple hours after he was born. He ended up being born at 7:12 p.m. on August 14th, and I got to officially spend a lot of time with him about 9:30 on. So it was kind of disappointing because I wanted to establish breastfeeding right away, but unfortunately that wasn't possible. When I got back into the regular room, it's really kind of fuzzy to me, the details of it all. But I just remember holding him and just looking at him and thinking like, wow, this is my baby. It makes me emotional to talk about it. Speaking of someone, I think he's awake. Anyway, I just remember thinking like, oh my God, this is so much more incredible than I could have ever fathomed, literally. But like a couple days after Isaiah was born, they had done some blood work or something, and it came back, some of his counts came back a little abnormal. I forget what they're called. So I know one of them was bilirubin, I think. Shoot. Anyway, they were abnormal, so they had to go and take him to the nursery. It's not really the NICU, but it was a lot like it. So he was in there. They were watching him pretty closely. He was having trouble regulating his body temperature, and yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention I forgot to mention this. During labor, towards the end of my labor, when his heartbeat was going up in the 200s and whatnot, I had a really high fever of like 103, and it just kept going up. So now here we are a couple days after birth, and they think that baby has an infection. So we don't know what's going on. It's kind of a big scare, but it ended up being nothing. He's totally fine now. They just gave him IV antibiotics, which was horrible to have like an IV stuck in his foot for the first week of his life. Gosh, it's horrible. You have to be so careful with all the wires and how you hold him. It was kind of sad at first, but he's fine. I ended up being fine. But during my recovery, my blood pressure was all out of whack. I don't know if it was from all the medicine I had gotten, but at one point my blood pressure was 88, or no, it was like 60 something over 40 something, and that sounds like death numbers to me. And all the nurses were totally tripped out because I felt absolutely fine. I wasn't dizzy. Nothing else was wrong. It was just my blood pressure. So they ended up thinking that I was just really severely dehydrated. So they gave me fluids, and oh man, I don't know. It was kind of crazy there for a minute with him having an infection, me kind of having a hard time with blood pressure, but it ended up being fine. But since he did have the infection, we had to stay in the hospital for a week. When we did finally get to go home, I can't tell you how good it felt to be home. Oh my gosh. I was a little scared because, you have all the nurses' help throughout the night, and, they're constantly checking on you, asking you if they can bring you anything, and then you come home and you're left to it. But granted, I do have my parents around, so they help. They help, and it's really awesome. So I will do an update on how it's been with Isaiah the first couple months. I'll make sure to do a video here in the next couple days, but I just wanted to do a labor and delivery video, just tell you guys about that, and I hope I covered everything. I think I did. It's really hard, but if you guys have any questions at all about my labor and delivery, just absolutely feel free to ask me, send me a message, comment, whatever you want to do, and I will make sure to reply. And thank you guys for hanging in there and watching my videos, even though I'm a big slacker. It's just kind of hard to do these. It's hard to get a minute. I'm sure all you mamas can understand that out there. But anyway, I'm thankful for you guys watching, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. Bye.